All right, look at this beautiful 911 964. Is it going to bring big money this week, or will this auction be doomed because everyone's in Monterey? This is Bid Nerds. We're going to talk about that, plus we're going to go over our predictions. This is Bid Nerds. The bidding starts now. Bid Nerds is your YouTube card game show. Well, there it is, guys. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a brand new live episode of Bid Nerds. My name is John Polnick. We're coming to you live from the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas, as well as my partner, Michael Deeb, in San Francisco. How do you like that, Michael Deeb? It's just you and I today. We have no guests. What's going on? It's weird.
And it's just you and I all day tomorrow. But by the end of Sunday, you're gonna be sick of me. You're gonna run home to Vegas through that hot desert.
It's a good thing we are not going to do a show Sunday night. So
Yes,
just so
true.
you guys know, mark your calendars. I will be on an airplane coming home. Deeb will be fast asleep, trying to wash off all the car stuff from Monterey Car Week. If you're going to be in Car Week, find us. We'll be at Works Reunion all day. We'll be at the Porsche thing Friday night. And then we'll be out there at Laguna all day on Saturday. So definitely hit us up. We're already hearing about some really cool stuff going on. So we'll try to share info as it comes our way. What's going on? We've got a lot. Man, our predictions from last week are all over the place, and I am genuinely concerned about the auctions that are closing this week, particularly in the next couple days.
Right?
Like, what the hell were you guys thinking having a car, close on those days?
Yeah, it'll be a theme tonight, JP. Car Week is a big event, and like it or not, the attention of the car world is on that. And if you're trying to sell an important car and you think having that car live so that it will close during Car Week, guess again, that's a terrible idea. And I've had a lot of my clients be like, oh, let's run it during Car Week. I'm like, no. Nobody's looking at their phone during Car Week unless they're trying to see if their friends texted because they're getting them beers somewhere. Nobody's watching Bring a Trailer during Car Week per se for closures. It's so hard. Everything takes so long while you're down there. The whole rest of the car world is watching what's going on there. So we're going to see some people that are tripping up this week. And it'll be very interesting. We have a whole batch of new cars to watch this week, JP, because several of these new predictions are going to close very close to the end of Car Week, and I think that's a miss. So we'll see.
Well, we will definitely see. All right. Well, let's get to looking at the predictions that we made on the last episode. If you're new to the show, welcome. Make yourself at home in the comment section. If you're watching this live, and introduce yourself to the Nerd Herd. Great people hanging out in there. You're gonna make great friends, and really, it's the Nerd Herd that makes this show fun to do. Check out my new hat. This is there's only a couple of these. We'll be making those available on the merch site. The link, if you want a hat or a t-shirt or any of that kind of stuff, that stuff is available on our merch site, so check it out. All right, Deeb, let's get to predictions. Let's start talking about cars. I've been talking about cars all day. I was on NPR this morning, Nevada NPR this morning with Dwayne Wick talking about cars, so it's just been like all dang day. Let's get to some predictions.
I thought you guys were going to do a filibuster. I found out you were impersonating Click and Clack, and you guys were diagnosing cars over the phone. I can't wait till you post a link for all of us to see that. Well done. All right, JP, let's circle right back to one of my all-time favorite cars. And believe it or not, I've still never driven one of these, but one of the original 45 special 1992 Porsche 911 Carrera Cup USA cars. Porsche had designated about 45 pseudo RS cars, seam welded chassis, all the really cool driving stuff that you get off a European RS. These cars were brought into the United States, and they were meant to be sold through the dealer network to people that wanted to race them in what was coming to be a basically a support race for Indy cars back in 1992. Whatever happened, and it's a really good story that you could look up. I don't know all the particulars, but the gist of it is that the series for the Cup cars got canceled And Porsche slowly, quietly sold those cars to their best customers, the people that wanted to pay the little extra premium to have all the things that made a regular 964 a cup car. And one of them is a 260 horsepower motor. The other one is a seam welded chassis, and then cool suspension and better brakes and I don't know, all kinds of great stuff. These are the closest thing we got to a real European RS on our shores. And today, for the few who know and can afford, these are coveted by collectors. Now, our particular car, JP, only has 22,000 miles and is still stripped out as a race car. So it's very obvious to see that whoever's owned this car has at the very least, enjoyed it extensively on the track. So despite low mileage on the odometer, this is a car that looks like it's been driven very hard and mostly on a closed circuit rather than on the road. Some of these cars, JP, still wear their carpet and their basic seats and don't have the full roll cage and fire system. And those cars tend to bring, in my opinion, a truly quantifiable value over the cars that have obviously had more of a track life. So this car being a track car, the model being collectible, where would this one land? JP, our friends at classic.com tell us that a USA Cup car is typically $247,000 in the secondary market. My opinion is that the street versions bring more and the track versions bring less. With that little tidbit in your frontal lobe, JP, I hit you with a $222,000 prediction at Hammer. You took the under at $209,640. And Alana Schur, the journalist, what do we call her, JP? She is the senior
features editor from Car and Driver.
Thank you. So we don't get her in trouble with her boss. At Car and Driver, Alana was a fantastic guest with great takes. Her prediction for the USA Cup car, JP, splitting the difference between us immediately into strict diplomacy. That girl is smart. $219,000. John, you were the one who came the closest because our car hammered for only $200,000 even, where it failed to sell on 18 bids. Now, this is an interesting car because it is an alumni listing. This car had run before in February of 2021, right when we would say, JP, if our memory serves us, and we're both getting old, that the market was really heating up. And at that time, with very similar mileage, this car sold for $210,000. So JP, I know for all those that are drinking because it's car week, as JP gets into his little diatribe on the value of $210,000, $200,000 is arguably a better result in today's market than $210,000 was in yesteryear's market, or vice versa. Am I doing that backwards? I think I'm reverse engineering
that
tape.
backwards, but yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this is really poor. But anyways, long story longer, this car didn't sell. And one has to wonder, as an alumni listing, should it have come back with great assets like it did to bring a trailer or a car this special? Could they not have wedged it into a live auction with Gooding or Bottoms or Broad Arrow or RM Sotheby's? I certainly think this car would have done well with one of the live auctions this week. I am also in a theme that we're going to repeat many times tonight, JP. This car should not have closed during this week. If you want to run it this week as a premium listing and have it close after everybody gets home next week, that's a great idea. But closing during car week, I also think that's the kiss of death. And the folks, Matt Crandall and his team, I think that they should have just zoomed out a little bit, looked at the bigger picture. I don't think that's the best tack. And I hate criticizing people who I think do a better job than us at selling these cars on this platform. But closing a special car during car week when everybody's got their attention somewhere else, I think that's a whiff. So, JP, what do you make of that FTS? Do you think the car is worth $200,000, even in today's dollars, or do you think this car is up against a distracted audience or would have done better in a live auction, like in person? Where are you at on this result?
Yeah, I don't think we need to say much more. All the people who were interested in this car or would have been interested in this car are saving their money for their trip to Monterey. No one's buying a big car like this just before the big event. So what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. And what was the next car that we put on the list?
All right, JP, we are going to circle right back to this 1995 Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR-4 Spyder with the power retractable hardtop. Our car is on Cars and Bids, and this particular listing, despite having 100,000 miles, but it was in San Diego, so it was reviewed by Doug DeMiro. 6-speed manual, or we wouldn't bother looking at it. But it's also really, really clean for 100,000 miles, JP. Hats off to whoever has owned this car, because they've certainly gone out of their way to take relatively good care of it. Miss me with the chrome wheels, and God, wouldn't this car look so much better if they put it on, even lowering springs, let alone coilovers. Car's got a motor, it's got all-wheel drive, and it's got a manual. But the Mitsubishi and even its cousin, the Dodge Stealth, this is a car that's largely been not missed by collectors, often overlooked, as they would say. And JP, these cars just don't bring the big money. This one looked nice. It's on Cars and Bids. It was reviewed by the Doug. Could it ring the bell? JP, our friends at Classic.com tell us that this car usually brings $31,000. I thought with 100,000 miles and on Cars and Bids, $22,000 could be in the works. JP, you loved my bid so much, you only bid $1 under me. Your bid, $21,999. That's like I can feel you under my chin kind of bid. And then Alana Shore, the gal from Car and Driver, she joined us. She took the over and only by $500, $22,500 for her guess. JP, I've got good news and bad news. The bad news is you missed a Yahtzee by $1. The good news is you get to celebrate because your partner got a Yahtzee. And JP, the only thing I'm going to say about this Yahtzee is with you $1 underneath me and her, our third nerd, being $500 over me, that Yahtzee is almost a goddamn miracle. So I'm going to celebrate all by myself here. But there you go. Only 12 bids. JP, I don't think there's a lot to unpack. That's a fair price for a really good conditioned, non-really collectible car. Doug endorsed it, and those are, for middle of the day, those are pretty decent assets. I mean, as far as cell phones go, I don't think you could do much better than that. But anything else you want to say about that result?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think look, we've been criticizing Cars and Bids. We've suggested that they make some minimum requirements for their sellers, have better photography, have better assets, video, that kind of stuff. This particular car, not really worth a whole lot. We all knew this thing wasn't going to bring a whole lot of money. One thing that we all missed, though, last week on the last episode when we covered this, is that this car is a relisting on Cars and Bids. This car actually sold a few weeks ago on CNB for let's see here, I put it in note, $25,250. Now, apparently the buyer at $25,250 flaked. So I wanted to bring that up. I know you had an experience with that recently, and a lot of us have. One of the things that happens when a buyer flakes, Cars and Bids, they charge the credit card immediately upon the close of the auction. So Cars and Bids gets their money no matter what. Then the seller and the buyer get put together, and it's up to them to actually make the official sale of the car happen, do all the transacting and all that kind of stuff. Now, we've criticized Cars and Bids for not having the assets requirements, basically telling them if you want to eat some of BAT's lunch, you're going to have to differentiate yourself a little bit, or a lot bit, as it were, to try to get some of that market share. And I think there's an opportunity here, and I wanted to get your opinion on this, Deeb. When the auction closes, Cars and Bids takes their fee. What do you think of the idea that Cars and Bids holds back an additional amount of money, some percentage? Let's say that Cars and Bids they take their 5%. What if Cars and Bids took 10% when the auction closed? And then when it's confirmed that the transaction has transacted between the seller and the buyer, then Cars and Bids releases that additional 5%. If the transaction doesn't happen within a certain amount of time, then that additional 5% goes to the seller who got duped. I think something like that, and maybe that's not the solution, but some way to make the seller whole. With Cars and Bids, the platform get their money, so what do they care? They ban the buyer. Okay, whatever, that's great. That buyer's out, but the seller's sitting there. They're the one that's holding the bag, and here it is. The seller, they came back just a couple weeks later, second bite at the apple. They lost $2,500 on this whole thing.
Yeah,
that's kind of BS, man. I think that Cars and Bids, at the very least, should give up some of the money that they got from that first seller. What do you think of that? And is that the kind of thing that could help them out as a platform?
So here's the thing, right, JP? And again, we can't quantify it because nobody's going to have the balls to do it, so to speak. But like, as much as I think it's a good idea, I also think that would cull like the bottom 20% of Cars and Bids registered bidders, like these, you and I tease about the guy who owns this car, or the guy who's bidding on this car still lives in his mom's basement or has to fill out a credit app and get his mom to co-sign. Well, if those kids find out, like, those young people, we're presuming that those folks are still young, and paying off student loans, or dealing with high rents and all the things that make today, so tough for our sensitive snowflakes out there. But the gist of it at JP is that I think you're going to scare those people out of bidding. And so I feel like you'd have to, here's
the thing. I mean, maybe that specific solution may not work because, because it's basically putting more money out of the pocket of the buyer. So I hear you're putting a barrier up for people, and not encouraging them to bid. But you could also make something on there that says, when you sign up on your profile, you check a box that says, if you bid on something, we're taking your money. And then if you don't consummate the sale within 30 days or some number, you're authorizing us to take an additional 5% from your credit card. I think something like that, something that
a non-performing penalty. Yeah, absolutely. And I think and here's where me being the diplomat comes in. It's like, okay, do you make that optional and say, hey, you pay the penalty and you can stay a registered bidder on Cars and Bids, or you don't pay the penalty, or you try to cancel that transaction from your credit card and don't let us take the money from you, and then you're blacklisted. I don't know. I don't know if any of those things work, but I like the idea. I feel like Sotheby's could do that. I feel like Sotheby's could absolutely do that, because I feel like the guy who's bid on those cars, swipe my card for $10,000. I don't care.
Cars and Bids is the only platform as it stands right now that has any chance of taking market share from BAT. Right. So I think that they need to do something drastic like that in order to really make a difference, because that's the kind of thing that makes me go as a seller, okay, I'm because pretty much 9 times out of 10 I'm going with BAT because it's BAT, right? If I all of a sudden found out, maybe if I go to Cars and Bids and someone flakes on me, I've got a little bit of protection. That's pretty cool. I don't know. What do you guys think of that idea? What do you think of as a potential solution to this particular problem? Deeb, I'll give you the last word, and then we can move on to the next car.
Yeah, not to open a whole other can of worms, and maybe in a future show we'll spend a few minutes on this, but I have gotten 2 emails in the last 2 weeks, and JP, I imagine you got the same. eBay is now doing automotive protection. They basically have secure purchase on eBay, and they're pushing it to their car site, to the eBay Motors. And the idea is that you can get up to $100,000 covered in vehicle purchase protection. And they're saying they'll escrow the deal. They'll do titles, and they'll do financing and all this stuff. Again, I think the big thing for them is if they go to the clock like all these other sites are doing. I don't think these are the answers that eBay needs, but it's interesting that they have now finally done something different to step up their game. And I think that's exactly what you're saying to the folks at Cars and Bids, is you got to step it up. You got to do something drastic. What can you do to make your buyers and sellers feel more secure? That kind of thing. And I don't disagree with that take at all. Look at eBay is even doing it. So there you go.
I love Dana's idea is have a bidder chum bucket, wall of shame. Bidders have to submit a photo when they register as a bidder, and if they're ever
Yeah.
a flake, then we put them on that page. It's like putting a picture of someone's face next to their bad check at the bodega down the road. All right, what do you guys think of that idea? Let us know in the comments, and let's move on. We got a lot of cars to cover. What's the next car on the list here, Deep?
All right, JP, running as a premium listing was this 1995 BMW M3 Lightweight. But wait, there's more. Just 24,000 miles on the odometer. JP, if that car looks particularly clean to you, you would not be wrong, because that car has been completely repainted. They took the 3-liter out and punched it up to 3.2, or they swapped it with a 3.2 and built it up. So this is a built motor that is probably putting out, like, I think they said they were getting over 300 horsepower to the tires. This car would only have made 240 at the crank when it was new. So that is a massive, tip up in performance. This car also has like coilovers and strut braces and a clutch and an exhaust and the whole thing. They've basically gone through completely a low mile example of a highly collectible car, one of just 126 examples made strictly for the US market. So this one looked really interesting, JP. And again, you and I go back and forth on this just for fun, just because we like to argue like a couple of old women about, should a car be completely stock to get top dollar, or will mods enhance the value to the right buyer? And a lot of times, JP, we're both right. But here's a really cool car, JP, that our friends at classic.com tell us is about $140,000 in the secondary market. I didn't think I walked very out onto a limb in your shoes saying that all these mods and work would enhance the value, and thus I thought this car would hammer for $160,000 and still be a screaming good value. JP, you took the over at $165,003, and Alana Shore from Car and Driver, she went underneath me by $5,000. Her bid just $155,000. JP, two things to unpack. One, our car only hammered for $115,000. And if you had asked me before the show ended last time, I would have said FTS all day long. It sold on 34 bids. So JP, if I thought it would have been a deal at 160 to get a restored, modified, just crazy performance lightweight, a real lightweight M3 with low miles at 160, 140 would have been a screaming deal. $115,000 makes me angry I didn't bid. Holy moly, that's a lot of car for the money. 100% well bought. What do you take from that result? Did Car Week have anything to do with that number?
Yeah, probably, but I think ultimately it came down to the fact that this car was a race car for a long time, and this is a restoration. So restored cars aren't going to bring what a low mileage original car is going to bring. And, at some point you get to a number where you're really talking about collectors, and collectors aren't going to buy something like this and drive it. So the collector wants the car that's original because they don't care what it does from a performance point of view. The silver lining here is that the car went for a low enough price to someone who probably will drive it. This is not a collector car at this point. That's what the market has said. So we will see this car on the road or the track or somewhere, and it's going to look great doing it. And wish I was that guy. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Somebody got a Yahtzee. Who got a Yahtzee? It looks like LeBlanc got a Yahtzee. So way to go. All right. Nice. Nice work. Nicely. All right. We need a Yahtzee button. I need some kind of like celebration. No, that's not good. No, that's not good. No, that's not good. No, I'm pretty sure there's like a... There LeBlanc. We go, a Yahtzee! And a round of applause for a Yahtzee.
LeBlanc.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it stops
Mike
at some
LeBlanc
point.
got
All right.
that. Well done.
Let's, what's the next car? What do we got?
Okay, JP, one last car to cover. Yuri Sinakis, our good friend, who's down at the pit stop all the time with Rafi Najarian and is around Siatas all the time, found this Siata, 1953 Siata 208S Spyder by Mato as a premium listing on Bring a Trailer. Again, a very beautiful car with a very reputable seller, Wob, out of Newbury Park, California. This is a premium listing with beautiful studio photography, and it's one of just 35 built back in 1953. So how many of those are still on the road, JP? I guarantee you it's not 35. We know that in the old days they used to crash these cars and people would die and they would catch into flames and stuff. So there's definitely not 35 of these cars left, making this car super, super special. But JP, again, we are taking, what would be a premium car at anybody's auction, and you're running it on Bring a Trailer during Car Week. I just think, it's it's so hard yet so easy, because we're just sitting here with our arms on our chair in front of a cell phone talking to our small audience. But it seems so unfair that we criticize these guys that do a really good job selling cars. But these decisions to run these special cars and close them during Car Week, I do not agree with. And here we go again. JP Classic tells us that a Siata 208 is a $1.5 million car. This being an S by Motto and looking to be in extraordinary condition, arguably this guy is holding out for even more money than that. But I was the high man at 1.1. You came in at just 750, and Alana Schur from Car and Driver just above you, JP, at 800 grand. To our surprise, the car did $1.3 million, but it failed to sell at that number on 28 bids. And honestly, JP, even though 1.5 is the average, I bet they were holding out for like 1.7 or 1.8, something really close to $2 million for this very, very special car. So, it's a bummer that you tried this exercise and it fails. Is a car like this burnt, or will we see this car, let's say, in Amelia Island or something like that? Chances are, if it doesn't sell privately over the fall and winter, this car will come back to auction next year. But it's a bummer that they did something so, public here, and yet you kind of tinge the car. I feel like if you're going to do this, you better be right, and it's a bummer that it didn't work out. JP, what do you unpack from that result? Higher than we thought, but still short of the mark.
Shout out to Gary, and it looks like Randy was paying attention too. I was having a little fun with you guys here as we were going through the pictures. I know my partner Deeb was looking down at his notes, but I was throwing these photos of this MG that closed just a couple of weeks ago from our friend Mental sent us, friend of the show, sent us this listing. This car sold for $21,000, right? It's a beautiful little car, beautiful little roadster. And I'm sorry, that compared to this, sure, this $1 million car is absolutely better.
Yeah.
But is it $1,300,000 or $500,000 better? Yeah. I think the value of cars like this, and Deeb, I agree with you that this was bad timing, way too close to Monterey Car Week, like I said, with the other car. Anybody that was interested in this car is saving their money for the show. But I think the value of cars like these are rushing towards a cliff. I don't know how close that cliff is, but I feel like, we're old enough. We're Gen Xers. We remember watching the Super Friends, the cartoons on Saturday morning when Batman would be in the car hurtling towards that cliff, and then they would cut to him saying something, and then they'd go back to the wide shot where he's going towards the cliff, and he's further back than he was in the previous shot. So they keep kind of pushing it back. Clearly, in that amount of time, he'd have been over the cliff and crashed. But look, this is a boomer car or older. No young timers even know what this is. Hardcore collectors are interested in this, and the types of hardcore collectors that are interested in this are gonna die soon. And it's sad to say, but that's just the case. These cars are not a good long-term value because there's only a handful of people that even know that they exist, and you can get a very similar driving experience with a $21,000 MG. I just think that this is a beautiful piece of art, and it does, this is a historical piece, really, and so that will help the value. And there are enough people that are going to try to keep that type of thing alive. But I say this is a boomer car. It's not a boomer car, and I'm not knocking boomers when I say that. I want to reach out to the nerd herd because I know a lot of our fans, we're Gen X, we're boomer adjacent. Most of the people that watch this show are our age or older. And I feel like our boomers are the best boomers. Right, we've got boomers that have the nerd herd boomers are the boomers that have always been ahead of the game. They've always been one step ahead. They're smart enough to know that, okay, maybe I'm not young anymore, so I need to pay attention to people who know what the next thing is. Whereas most boomers are just NPCs. They're just kind of like going along. They don't know what the heck is going on. Our boomers, they are not those type of boomers. They're the ones that watch this show and they know what the hell is going on. They always have been their entire life. So that's why we love our nerd herd boomers. All right, what do you guys think of the value of this car? Should they have taken the money, or is this car, did it not go for the money that the seller wanted because it was so close to Car Week, or was it some other reason? Let us know in the comments, and let's get to the next car. What do we got?
Oh, JP, let's go to commercial, then we'll do new predictions.
Ooh, new predictions. That's the best part. Let's do it. I'm looking at Hoursmith. It's definitely time for that. Where's our little thing that we do the thing? Here we go.
Hey guys, Vegas Autofest, presented by Lamborghini Las Vegas and Audi Henderson, is the most Vegas car show of the year. And it's happening at Red Rock Country Club, September 13th. Cars, food, music, showgirls, and amazing prizes. Tickets start at just $20. Kids under 16 are free.
See you at Vegas Autofest 2025.
Vegas Autofest is September 13th at the Red Rock Country Club, presented by Lamborghini Las Vegas and Audi Henderson.
Vegas Autofest, the drivers are coming.
Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Hoursmiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Hoursmiths, fine Swiss repair. All right, we are back, guys.
If Bid Nerds will ever end, I love that line.
When will the show ever end? You got to look at your Hoursmiths watch.
Hey, rumor has it Rami may come out to Monterey. Is that do you have inside information? Is that a possibility?
That is a possibility. It's probably going to be a game time decision. We'll see what happens.
Always with him. Always with him. Well, it'd be fun to see him. Yeah,
he will definitely be at Vegas Autofest.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we encourage all of you.
He is Vegas Autofest.
He is the spokesperson. He's like he's
the
more
mascot.
The mascot. Yeah,
he's the mascot of Autofest. Yeah.
All right, guys, let's get you to Vegas Autofest. Make plans today. It's September 13th. It's not too late.
Tickets are
for
on
you guys.
sale.
They are. So get your tickets now and make plans. I think we're gonna have a room rate at the Rampart this year. So if you're coming out of town, let us know. We'll get you accommodations.
Are we predicting that we'll have more cars than ever before on the lawn? Is it looking like that? Are we aiming for a record?
It's one of those things. Everyone registers in the last 2 weeks. It's always how it goes.
Damn it!
We're always on pins and needles at the end, but it's going to be a great show. We have great sponsors this year. I will tell you right now that a lot of really cool activations going in. On the property. F1's going to be there. We're going to be giving away F1 tickets. Hoursmiths made a watch for the event, so that's going to be available. All kinds of prizes like cruises and luxury stays in Napa and all kinds of stuff are going to be available. So going to be a great show. All right, let's get to predictions. It is Car Week in Monterey. We are heading there tomorrow morning as soon as this show is over, and we're looking at cars closing this week online and going, why the hell would you have your car close online when everyone's going to be in Monterey at the live car auctions? Let's get to the first car on the list. Will it be affected by the Monterey Car Auction Week? What's going on, Deeb? What's this first car?
All right, JP. I just like first of all, who's a car nerd doesn't like the Acura NSX? But this particular 2004 Acura NSX-T that has a 6-speed manual and is running as an alumni listing on Bring a Trailer absolutely caught my eye. It's black with red leather. I am a sucker for this colorway. Dark blue with red leather, black with red leather. Gets me every time, JP. And I won't even drive a black car, but I would drive this car. This thing is absolutely gorgeous. Our friends down at Moore Imports are running this car on BAT. So the car's down in Monterey, California. Again, 46,000 miles on the odometer. It is an alumni listing. JP, this car previously sold on Bring a Trailer in February of 2023. And at that time, JP, the car brought $138,000 back in 2023. JP, there's just a few little touches that these guys did. I say these guys, the person who owns the car did before they brought it to market. First, they swapped out the Acura A badge on the nose and put the red Honda H, which is kind of like the ROW of the Honda badging for an NSX. They did the same treatment to the wheels. And then the steering wheel, JP, is the same steering wheel that'll be on an NSX-R. And then they did a titanium shift knob that also would have come on a NSX-R. The rear wing and the rear diffuser, that rear wing being adjustable, are also NSX-R bits. So the black car with the red, the favorable miles, the manual transmission, and then all these little subtle Honda and NSX-R pieces, I think are absolutely what caught my eye. So like one glance at the thumb and I was like, ooh, that NSX is dope. And it's because of all those little things they did to sort of enhance the look. I'm 99% sure, without ever reading the notes or anything like that, that all these stock pieces are included in the sale. And who cares if they want? The car looks better. And it's quantifiable because, JP, this car doesn't close till tomorrow and it's already sitting at 150 grand. That's legit 12 grand over what it sold for last time. And I bet this car has room to go. More Imports always does a very good job with the assets. These are decent enough, but the car is the star. I dig it, JP. I'm not even going to pretend I don't like it. What do you make? Do you love this colorway and these little touches, these like just, stylings? Is it working for you? I'm losing my shit over this car. It's so good looking.
Yeah, gotta love the lobster. Black on red is where it's at, and with that target top just makes the NSX one of the greatest driver cars of all time. I absolutely love this thing. It's stunning. It's interesting because it is doing so well. We gotta wonder if this is the kind of car that is immune to the whole in-person car auction thing. Most of the people who are going to the in-person car auction they do skew older. This is decidedly a young timer car if there ever was one. The big question here that we got to ask today is, will this car bring Integra Type R money? We are seeing those break $200,000, and this is a gosh darn NSX, one of the best. This is the GT3 of NSXs right here. What's it going to bring, Deeb?
Oh, good question, JP. So my bid has already been blown out of the water. JP, our friends at classic.com tell us that the average selling price for this generation of the NSX is $142,000. These last versions of the NSX typically bring the most money in the secondary market. Now, this car rang 138 grand when it sold back in 2023, but it's currently sitting at $150,000 right now. And it closes tomorrow, JP, which means everybody that's going to Monterey can actually go to More Imports, and this car is likely sitting on the showroom floor or in the shop in the back as it's waiting to be picked up by its new owner. JP, 150 grand is 4 over what I thought this car was going to sell for, so I have to change my bid because it's already obsolete. So let me retrace my steps. I think this car is going to bring another 20 grand. So let's go $168,000 for my Hammer, and I'm going to say that it sells. It's well over what it sold for last time. I'm saying right now, JP, this car is in the money. It's going to sell, and even at 168, which is a ton, this is a lot of car. Yeah, there's a little thing on the Carfax, but you've trained me to quit bringing that shit up. It looks minor, and the car looks fantastic, and these are so collectible. Man, oh man, 168 to you, JP. Where are you at on the NSX with red leather?
Well, I mean, it's at 150 already, like you said, and we know that BAT, usually all the auction buyers are going to come in at the end. Look, the fact is that this car, that mid-engine, that 3.2 liter in the back, this car is a hybrid. That doesn't mean it has a battery power. That means that this car is both an online digital auction and it's a in-person live auction in Monterey Car Week. This car is part of More Imports event. They are holding an event at their shop. So this car is both. It's not just online. So you said it, Deep. People are going to be standing around this car as the auction ends. It's the best of both worlds. That's going to bring a lot of extra attention to this car. I think that this car absolutely is Integra Type R money. It has to be. It's a freaking NSX. It's not a stupid Integra. I am going to say $200,000.
Woo! Look at you.
Because it's there. And I know I'm going out on a limb, but I think this is just such a great car. This is if it has any chance to do that, it's there.
JP has already started his Monterey Car Week drinking, and he hasn't even gone to the airport to fly to San Francisco yet. So that is awesome. $200,000 is a bold bid, but if a car could do it, it's that car. I love that this car is actually, ironically, already in Monterey. And yeah, JP, they More always gets a whole collection of cars, and they go crazy and do a lot of fun stuff because they're kind of a host brick and mortar for the week. So good luck to them, and congratulations to the new eventual winning bidder on this NSX. This nerd is jealous.
Yeah, I mean, let's hand it to you. The people that are there that are interested in this car, they have their phone. They can look at the auction right while they're there. Whereas the type of person that's not really interested in this car, they're not on their phone. They're not looking at all the digital stuff because that's just not them anyway. They're looking at a Siata somewhere. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Let's move on. What's the next car? What do we got?
All right, JP, this car, you put the link on this car, so I'm wondering who submitted it, if it was you or somebody else.
Someone submitted it too. I can't remember who, but someone submitted it
so
on
Instagram.
Instagram.
A Nerd Herd submission through IG is this custom 1990 Porsche 964 Carrera Coupe that has obviously been treated to, I don't know, would you call that a resto mod? It's not even like resto. It's, they did some stuff, because if this is a 964 C2 Coupe, JP, as a donor car.
This is a huge resto mod.
They went full turbo flares and a big aftermarket front spoiler and chin scrape. They've got these Group 4 looking wheels, JP, and the motor's been punched up to 4 liter. JP, by all accounts, this is kind of the ultimate. I don't know that I love the front chin spoiler, but I love that they did it. It's an attractive car. It sounds like it's got the goods. It's got some big old wheels on it. I didn't read much on this car, JP, only 33,000 miles. But we've seen the 1994 C4 Y bodies bring $200,000 and $300,000. This particular car with a custom interior and all the goods could certainly bring that much or more. JP, what do you think of the interior? It's not very Porsche. The steering wheel to me looks sorely out of place. But the seats are cool. They just look like something you'd expect out of a Singer or a modern GT3. Take it or leave it. You know, when you do these, when you do this resto mod stuff, you wind up having polarizing taste. And so for the few that love it, they'll pay big money, but it might not have broad appeal. I love the performance of this car. I think they went too far with the interior, but that's my opinion, and that's why I'm here. JP, what do you think of this car?
That interior won SEMA in 2023 for the best interior of the show. To me, it makes me want to barf more than drinking too many well drinks at the Westin across the street, or whatever. It's just hideous on the interior, but the exterior is really cool. Look, this build, they claim in the listing that this thing costs $600,000 plus to build this car. So I don't, does this buyer think he has himself a Singer, and is he expecting Singer type money? Above $600,000 is definitely getting into that territory, and I don't think there's any chance in hell that happens. This is just such a typical, P-car market listing. They've got a video here, you guys. Check out this video. It's so stupid. Sorry, I got to bring it back up. But here's their video.
Oh, no.
Did it stall? It just cuts? There's no, it goes, and then there's a hard cut. So you don't know if it stalled or they just did a weird smash cut there. I mean, it's like, P-car market, what the hell are you guys doing? This is so typical for them. That's the only video that's listed on the listing. However, the seller put a link for a really dynamic video, not necessarily a video that I'm excited about, but I mean, it's a full-blown, full deep dive into this car. It's a 30-minute video on the car, on the entire build. That's not in the damn listing. What? P-car market. Yeah. Get on. This car is headed for the chum bucket. Again, this is just, expectations. P-car market. That's what P-car market is. What's it going to bring, Deeb?
All right, JP, our friends at classic.com tell us that 964 hot rod coupes typically bring $188,000 in the secondary market. Our particular car, with a 425 horsepower, 7,800 RPM motor in the back of it, allegedly costing $600,000 to construct, is currently sitting at $175,000 on 13 bids, and it closes tomorrow. JP, I kind of agree with you that this car is probably not going to bring the $400,000 or maybe even $500,000 that they're looking for or expecting or hoping for, or God knows what has gone into the decision to run this car on P-car market. But I feel like this car is gonna stall out at $264,000 even, and wind up in the chim bucket for something akin to a $500,000 offer or ask, depending on how you look at it. But JP, I don't think this car will even get to 300. I think that interior is very polarizing. And if they don't have the right assets to really explain what this car is, how are you going to build value in it? It breaks my heart to agree with you as we continue to take umbrage with the way P-Car conducts themselves. But yeah, not having that video to be the best builder of value other than the staff writers at P-Car trying to describe this thing is a catastrophic fail. And that is going to be only part of the reason why this car FTS is tomorrow at my number, $264,000, unless JP is right. What's your number?
Yeah, I'm going lower than that. I don't think it's going to break 250. I'll give it 245,964. And say it just fizzles out there. Again, the person that wants this is in Car Week. This car, I think, as ugly as that interior is, this car definitely has the potential to be a $300,000 or $400,000 car. It has the right names attached to it, right? It's Raw Sport built the engine. It's got all the right stuff in it. It's just presented terribly on a horrible platform that just phoned it in. It's just a waste of time as per usual with P-Car Market. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments, and let's move on. We're covering lots of stuff tonight. What do we got?
Yeah, JP, I spotted this 1990 Volkswagen Golf GTI 16 valve with the round headlights. But JP, it's a Euro car, which I thought was really cool. So out of Stratham, New Hampshire, and on Bring a Trailer, our car is showing 203,000 kilometers as it's a Euro example. That's only 126,000 miles. And JP, again, I don't know my years and my Volkswagen Mark IIs well enough. When I saw the exterior photos and the red grille surround and the round headlights, I was hoping for those velour cushy Recaros that are in my favorite GLI. But this is like that half generation before, where they look more like the slightly less padded, harder, more polyester with that plaid GTI seat, which is also all by itself is a great seat. But I love that one that, the one I like. I forget the name of those seats. But JP, I saw this car and thought of you and thought of me, and I was like, oh man, look at that dark green. And it looked like it was in really nice shape. And then it's a Euro, which I think means it's going to have 8 more horsepower, 15 more horsepower. So just a really cool car, JP. Wondered if a Euro would have an enhanced value to the VW public, or is this just going to stay in the low dollars because Volkswagen is just somehow... Why is it like nice Volkswagen? We don't see enough nice Volkswagens, so there's not a ton out there. But why don't they bring the big money? So, JP, I really like this car, and I wonder if it's even going to get to 30. Like, what a deal this could be. Where are you at on this one?
You're right about that interior. That is disappointing. If I saw this car on the street, I would immediately think that it was just a regular Golf with all the badging on it. Back in, I want to say in like 95 or something like that, I succumbed to I was ripped off. I bought what I thought was a GTI, but then I didn't look closely enough at the title until I drove it home. I was like, oh my God. This is just a Golf, a little 1.8 Golf. I thought it was a 1.8 GTI. It had all the right stuff on it.
JP, we've got to start a wall of shame for your transactions. That goes right above your $1,000 deposit on the thing.
I bought it well enough that I didn't lose money on it or anything like that. And it was a good looking car. It wasn't, I lost more money on the thing, that's for sure. But
scoundrels in Seattle, man, ripping off my partner.
See me coming. What's it going to bring?
Beat some. All right, JP. Our car is sitting at $17,750 on 23 bids, and it's got 2 days still to go. Now, over at Classic.com, they tell us that a Mark II GTI is only a $15,000 conversation in the secondary market. Initially, JP, I had written down $25,000, but I like that this car has already got 20-something bids, and it's still got 2 days to go. So I'm going to raise my rent. I'm going to go up to $28,800 and say that it gets a lot closer to 30, but I still think this car stays in the park because I just don't think there's enough real Volkswagen people out there to give this the love that it deserves. So 28.8 to you, JP. I dare you to go over me. Where are you at?
Yeah, I don't think this car will be affected by Car Week because you're absolutely right. Volkswagen heads don't have enough money to go to Car Week and hang out.
They don't.
That is
No.
definitely out of their budget. This car is definitely a classic example of assets matter, and these assets are terrible. This car has a very interesting color that I don't know if I've ever really recall seeing on one of these. It's
in
kind
the
of
US.
like, this dark blue color, and you just can't really tell. The initial, when you see the first picture, you just think it's a black one. So that's a big miss. I think that this car has the potential to be a $30,000 plus Mark II Volkswagen 16 valveless slick top. That's a pretty darn neat car to have. But this listing just isn't going to get it done. I'm going to say $22,016. And ask the Nerd Herd what you guys think. Excuse me, guys. Let us know in the comments. And I think we still have more cars to cover because we're trying to fit some extra stuff in since we're not going to be here Sunday. What's the next one?
All right, JP, down in Orange, California on Bring a Trailer is this 1989 Ferrari 328 GTS with just 18,000 miles. JP, the Ferrari mid-engine cars, these gated manuals, have just slowly but steadily continued to go up in value. We've got a 328, which might not be the most classic version of the 308, 328 series, because it's slightly more modern. It's a little bit like, like the 964 JP, where they made it all smooth and then nobody cared about it. But this one having low miles, it's resale red, limited slip differential. I just kind of figured when we were first looking at it, JP, that this would easily be a six-figure car. And that's something I don't think we could have said 5 years ago. Obviously, 5 years ago, things were very different. But here we are. And so an 18,000-mile 328 is going to easily bring six figures. JP, just spoiler alert, our car is at 95,000. It's got 3 days to go. So, John, what do you think of a low-mile 328? Is that a collectible car? Do you see a real collector, spending upwards of 130, 150 to get it cleaned up and put away, not drive it, and expect to get a return on that investment 2, 3, 5, 6 years from now? Do you think these cars are going to continue to go up? Where are you at on a 328?
That is a achingly beautiful car. I have a question for you because you know these way better than I do. You've mentioned that some of the earlier, like the 308s and just are not fun to drive. This iteration of this platform in its later years, does it live up to its looks? Is this a car that drives as exciting and as well? And are you going to get behind this wheel and not be like, don't meet your heroes?
Yeah, don't meet your heroes. You'd be better off, JP. The 308 GT4 Dino that you sold, that you had for a couple months, is still a better car than this.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
the 348
sure is pretty. Yeah.
The car that came after it is a much better car, and the car that came after that is a way better car for driving excitement. But this car, while it's better than a 308 and it's better than a Quattrovalvole, the GT4 Dino is just way more analog, way more light, and just an all-around better car. Don't get me wrong, this car shifts better, it brakes a little better, but it doesn't handle. It's not that powerful. It goes, but and it sounds right, but it's just like it's governed and it's held back, and it's a bummer.
All right, what's it gonna bring?
All right, JP, our car's sitting at $95,000 with 3 days to go. The average selling price today for a 328 GTS is now up to $123,000. This car with the low miles and the great assets on Bring a Trailer, despite being Car Week, I still think this car is going to finish well. $132,800, 1328, if you see what I'm doing there, is going to be my bid. But I do think they might have left a little bit of money on the table. If they would have ran this a week from now, they might have saw 150. So 132,800 to you, JP. We're at 95 grand. What's your hammer?
You're stealing Randy B and Kevin Bodman's bid. They both
did
the
I?
exact same number there. I see what you're doing. Now I know how you get all those Yahtzees. You're copying off of Randy. That was a good move right there. I think this car is going to be. I think this car would do better if it weren't Car Week. This is a car that I think is going to be affected. I think it'll still break 100,000 for sure, but I'm going to go 128,000. And say that it's going to be about $10,000 less than you guys think. It's such a beautiful car, but I think it's just not going to get the kind of attention that it needs. If it were a couple of weeks ago, for sure. All right, what else we got?
All right, JP, 2 quick cars, and then we'll let everybody go to Car Week. I am currently running a 1983 Porsche 911 SC Cabriolet Our car is running no reserve on Bring a Trailer right now. And JP, the car has just 19,500 miles on the odometer. It gets better than that. Slate blue metallic was a regular range color. This was in the catalog back in 1983. However, as we look back on history, if it wasn't, white, guards red, or black, or maybe silver, it winds up being like a rare shade today. So not often selected, but readily available without having to pay a big premium to get it, is this beautiful colorway of slate blue metallic. And JP, as nice as the photos are, and shout out to my photographer Kevin, the color, the red dirt and the yellow grass and the gray skies do not do the paint and the color justice. This car is gorgeous in person. It has what we call, JP, curb appeal. Blue leather sport seats, a full blue leather interior, and then a black top. And then JP, this car also came from the factory, not only sport seats, but it came with a limited slip differential. Our current ownership took delivery of the car. JP did an engine out, head stud, and reseal of the motor and put it back together. This car is fresh and ready to go. So super nice car. We're running it no reserve. BAT kind of hit us with a low reserve counter offer to what we were asking for. And when we saw that, we're like, let's just pull the reserve and go for it, because we're confident this car will get into the money. So JP, what do you think of the SC Cab? It's sort of a 1 year only deal. And then, give me a number for this car. I'm going to recuse myself from bidding, but slap a number on it.
Yeah, I mean, that color is the kind of color that, just keeps PCA members awake at night. They just dream about colorways like this. I think the color is beautiful. I wouldn't necessarily personally pay extra for it, but I think that absolutely someone will. I think there's going to be a lot of bidders going after this. I think people are going to be looking at the opportunity. People get really excited when they see no reserve. Everyone's going to come in thinking that they're going to get a deal, but then they get emotional and they spend maybe a little too much. This car, it doesn't matter if you spend too much on this thing, because it really is going to be a great car for whoever gets it. This is a great car for either someone who wants to collect one or someone who wants one that they can drive for a long time, put real miles on the car, but not affect the value too much. Because, I mean, hell, you can put 10,000 miles a year on this car, and it's still going to be considered a low mileage car in 5-10 years.
Right. That's right.
So this thing's great. Boy, I got to throw a number at it. I'm going to say this thing should be in the 70s, right? So, hell, let's go nuts. Let's go 7911 with a couple of zeros after that. 79,000, whatever. Yeah, basically 5 figures. What do you guys think? Looks like Randy thinks this thing's going to break 80. So 83,911, and he's one of the Yahtzee kings out there. So that's a good number here. Tasso, 135. I'm sure that would make my partner Michael Deeb and the seller very happy. But
bananas.
Yeah.
I mean, JP, do you think a low mileage, and it's pretty well documented with the Carfax and the receipts, do you think a documented ridiculously low mile SC Cab, again, something you and I would never have thought was possible a few years ago, do you think one of these, and I'm not saying it has to be this one, but a low mile one with good options and a good colorway could be a 6-figure car? Is it possible?
I think the only way that's possible is if it has delivery miles. So if it's a 100-mile car, or 600 miles, something under 1,000 miles, or 1,200 miles, I think are considered delivery miles, then absolutely you're in that potential category. But this being only, I mean, the thing is, an SC Cab used to be worthless. This is, and cabriophobes are just complete idiots. You're getting so much. If this were a coupe, this is definitely $140,000, $150,000 car, right? In this colorway with this few miles. So the cabs are definitely, you can get a cab for half the price of a coupe. So, there's definitely potential for $100,000 cab, and maybe this is the one. I hope it is. Let us know what you guys think, and do we want to cover one more car before we get out of here?
Yeah, and I just want to say to everybody who thinks I'm a total hypocrite, that car I scheduled to drop today. So the entire time me and my partner are down in Monterey this week, everybody's like, Deeb, what's up? I'll be like, did you see that SC Cab with 19,000 miles I've got on BAT? This car is scheduled to close next Wednesday, the 20th. So while I tease all my compatriots in the business for closing cars this week, what they didn't hear me say is you should have launched your car this week and then talked about it to all your clients that you're going to run into while you're in Car Week, because that's what the Bid Nerds did. All right, JP, Chris Carbine, our buddy, has a 2008 Lamborghini Gallardo Coupe on Cars and Bids with just 18,000 miles. So all-wheel drive, V10, normally aspirated. It's got that single clutch, that 6-speed auto mated. If it was manual, this would be a $200,000 car. But since it's that crappy gearbox, our friends at Cars and Bids at Classic.com tell us that the average selling price for one of these is only $97,000. JP, I think this car is going to get up to $123,000 when it closes next week. So 123000. That's Carbine 123 for my bid. JP, what do you think of the Gallardo? Because I know you had an Audi with a similar drivetrain. You love these cars. What do you think this coupe will do when it closes? And Carbine, really nice assets, buddy. You are stepping up your game, man. I liked what you did here. That's a great presentation of a gorgeous car. I'm all in at 123, way over. That's about $26,000 over Classic's number. Where you at, JP, on the Gallardo? And close the show with your bid.
This is one of those cars that we usually say how yellow really hurts the value of most cars. This is one of the few cars that can carry it and look good. This car looks really good in that speed yellow. And don't knock the E-gear. People, it's the much maligned, and it deserves to be. It's definitely not as good as a manual, of course. But honestly, I prefer the E-gear, the single clutch manual, automatic manual, way better than any Tiptronic or even a PDK or any of that kind of stuff. Because it is technically, it's a manual transmission. You have to modulate the throttle, which makes the drive of this car engaging and fun. It's a lot more like driving an actual manual car. It's not as fun in traffic because it doesn't operate like an automatic, but screw you, this isn't the car to be sitting in traffic in anyway. I love this thing. I think it's going to do well despite the fact that it's an E-gear. I'll give it, what was your number? 129? What was it?
What? 123. Carbine 123. So I'm
going to go right under you and say 120. And
all right.
Say, I wish it were going in my garage. All right, guys. Speaking of the garage, it's time for you guys to dust off your best car and get it down to Monterey if you're in the area. Otherwise, you got to get on the airplane and see us there tomorrow. Go ahead.
We don't have a show on Sunday.
We don't have a show on Sunday, so don't look for us on Sunday. We'll be back in a week. And again, if you're down there, come and find us and say hello. And go order a hat. Oh, and by the way, if you love the show and you are like, I love cars and I love all these auctions, but I don't want to deal with it myself, well, have us do it. Bid Nerds, a happy ending for every auction. Reach out to us on Instagram if you want us to represent your car. We will see you guys in a week. Bye.